Oh, yeah, it's been a while since we busted out the old One Piece clipboard. Yeah, now, what's on the other side of it, though, I wonder? Yeah, that's right. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. A blank sheet of paper. You know why it's blank? Because it's symbolic, ladies and gentlemen. It is symbolic of the One Piece story. Not because it hasn't been written yet, not because Oda's just making this up as he goes along, but it's symbolic because that's what it is to us. It's a blank slate. We can go any direction from this point forward, okay? The last arc, the last portion of this story, the Straw Hats finding the One Piece finally, Laugh Tale, and everything therein. It's a blank slate. All right, that seemed pretty deep. Yeah, I was trying to think of something really deep and meaningful and like philosophical or whatever. Like, I know, this blank page represents the One Piece story. For in the future, we do not know what will happen because it's the future and therefore we don't know. Okay, so hey everybody, how you doing? Tekking Barry back again. All right, so let's talk about Laugh Tale, or rather, let's talk about the Laugh Tale arc, the last portion of this story. Let's address that first and foremost, okay? Because there's still a lot of debate right now over the letter that Oda issued. You know, he's going on a break and everything, and there's still some debate days later that is like, you know, does he mean it's the last arc? Does he mean it's the last saga? Does he mean it's the last portion of the story? Okay, just from my perspective on this, I can tell you, it probably does not matter what the word is, okay? And this is the reason it doesn't matter. I think a lot of people are worried that if it is arc, then people are thinking like One Piece is going to end very, very soon or something, you know, because arc implies that there's only one more insular story arc and then One Piece will be over, okay? I will remind you that Wano, the arc we just got done with, lasted 4 years, okay? Almost 4 years exactly, by the way. It started in June of 2018, and here we are in June of 2022, and it's technically not even done yet. Wano will probably end at chapter 1053, so 2 chapters left. We'll have 1052 this week, and then 53 will be next week. There's no break, so that's great. But yeah, so even if Oda did mean, like, no, there is only one more story arc in this entire manga, and then that is it, even if he meant that, we're still looking at easily, it could be as 4 years, it could be even longer than that, 5 years. Something else I really wanted to bring up is there was something that didn't start until a few years ago, and that was Oda taking a lot more breaks, or rather, I think Shueisha making him take a lot more breaks, where now every single month there is at least 1 week where Oda has off, okay? So that's a good thing, but that also understandably, you know, stretched out the manga a little bit longer, okay? So without those breaks, Wano would have been shorter. But they're a good thing because Oda gets some rest, so therefore, I could see this last arc being, you know, 4 years or 5 years. I really personally want One Piece to last until 2027 because I'm a little bit OCD with that, I guess. I just love it when stories like, okay, they end on a nice round number or a nice even number, you know, something like that. You know, it's like, okay, One Piece started July 22nd, 1997, and it ends July 22nd, 2027. I'd be like, oh, that's beautiful, Oda. I love you. It's a perfect 30-year story. There it is, right? Okay. I would personally like that. It doesn't have to end like exactly on the same day, although that would be rather nice. You know, but if it could make it to 2027, you know, I would be okay with that. And you could say 97 to 2027, perfect, okay? Now, Oda might not have the same perspective on that. He might just be like, I'm writing the story, and whenever it's done, you know? I'm not gonna go further just to meet, like, a deadline just for the 30th anniversary. This year is the 25th anniversary, this July. But that's something that I really like. So I'm looking at that, and I'm seeing, like, okay, Wano is the longest arc in One Piece right now. It's 4 years long, and in 5 years, we're gonna have the 30th anniversary. So it seems to line up really good for me, personally, okay? But even if it's not an arc and it's a saga instead, it's still probably going to last anywhere from like 3, 4, maybe 5 years, something like that, okay? I don't think you have to worry about like Oda coming back from this break, starting the Laugh Tale arc, and then like One Piece will be over like a year from now. Like, if you're worried about that, put that out of your mind. I think we all knew that this was like the last arc or the last part of the story was coming. It was already revealed. You know, we're kind of like reaching the climax climax here with everything that was addressed in Wano. So I think everybody should have understood at this point, like, okay, after we're done with Wano, we're moving on to the final portion of this story. If you want to say it's a saga or an arc, regardless, we only got a few years left, no matter what you call it, okay? So don't worry about it ending like, oh no, last arc, that's like, a year from now it'll be over. Like, nah, I don't think it'll be that quick. However, I don't think it'll be a singular arc, though, I think it's going to be a saga, as in a collection of arcs that are all not going to be nearly as long as Wano, Laugh Tale being the main event, though, Laugh Tale being the major arc that is going to be addressed here, okay? So I just wrote down some locations that I would like the Straw Hats to go, and then we're going to talk about that and how they could fit into the last portion of the story. Okay, number 1 is Elbaf. I mean, people have been asking for Elbaf for so long. It was set up during Little Garden. It was set up also during Totland. We learned a lot about the giants through Big Mom's backstory with Loki, and then Lola and everything later on, how the marriage fell through and all that stuff. We have the giant warrior pirates, led by Dorian Bragi, then the new giant warrior pirates led by Hyrudine and Girth and, Lindbergh. No, not Lindbergh. Lindbergh is the Revolutionary Army commander. You know what I was thinking? Rode and Goldberg. That was it. Anyway, my point is new giant warrior pirates, all right? So, and then everything else, like, involving, like, Norse mythology, and then there's a giant tree, Yggdrasil there, and it's just like, all right, Oda set so much of this up. Can we please go to Elbaf, all right? So, pause for a moment. I'm going to get back to this, but I just want to go through the rest of this list. Next is Loadstar. Now, Loadstar is the last island in the New World that the log pose actually points to, okay? So, if the Straw Hats did not go to Zoe and did not learn about the road poneglyphs there, then they would have just kept continuing on with their journey in the log, and they would eventually reach Loadstar Island. And the way Inuarashi and Nekomamushi spoke about it is that when you reach that island, Loadstar, that is when you learn that that is not the last island. That's when you learn about Laugh Tale. Normally, that's where Roger learned about it, although it wasn't called Laugh Tale. So Roger most likely just heard about, like, oh, there's another, mystery island, a phantasmal island that exists somewhere else in the New World. And that's the place where this great treasure is. And then, eventually he finds it with the road poneglyphs, and then he calls that Laugh Tale. Okay, so that's also the location where you find out about the road poneglyphs' very existence there. So, Inuarashi kind of said, like, well, you can keep following the log and you can reach Loadstar, but that point is sort of redundant now because you already know about the road poneglyphs. But they also sort of implied to Nami, like, just keep on following the log, you're doing great, and it'll all work out, eventually, okay? Now, with Loadstar, like, there's been a lot of build-up to Elbaf, so that's why I feel like we really need to go to Elbaf. Loadstar was just offhandedly mentioned by Roger. He's like, oh, that's the last island that the log points to is Loadstar. That's where you find out about this stuff. Later on we find out from Zoe. So it's like, okay, if the Straw Hats don't go there, it's not really a big deal. It would sort of be for, like, completion XP. It's like in a video game, it's like, okay, you completed the main story, but then there's, like, a lot of extra stuff to do. It's like Laugh Tale is like a new game plus quest or like a post-game quest or something, right? The campaign ends when you reach Loadstar, I guess, for most people, right? So they don't have to go there, but I'm still interested in the island. I'm interested in exactly... Here's the question. How do you find out about the road poneglyphs there? Like, do you land on Loadstar, and is there, like, a group of people that, like, give you, like, a ribbon or a crown or something, and just like, welcome to the end of the Grand Line! Congratulations, everyone! Yes, you've reached the end! Now, there's an extra quest if you are daring and dashing enough to complete it. And Roger's like, daring and dashing? I dare say that's me! Yarg! I be a pirate, matey! It's like, I see that you are. Well, if you can find the 4 rare road poneglyphs all over the world, they will point to a mysterious island with the greatest treasure ever. Aye, matey, that sounds like an awesome quest for my pirate crew. What do you say, mateys? Sure. Okay then, back on the ship. We're not done with this journey yet, you know? Oh, by the way, this took a while for Roger because Roger reached Loadstar like over a decade before he found Laughtail. So he spent a while traveling around looking for those damn road poneglyphs, okay? But I am curious about the mechanism of this. Is that how it happens? I'm assuming it isn't. So, you know, what is Loadstar? Are there people that live there? Is it just like a normal town with normal people that has a normal contact with the outside world? Or is it like maybe an ancient tribe of people, maybe similar to the Shandia, and they might, you know, explain to them about the road poneglyphs and everything in the last island? Maybe remnants of the Will of D live there? You know, it's just like, Loadstar seems so interesting to me that I don't think it's just like a normal island that has like protection by the Marines and it's affiliated with the world government. I feel like just by its very nature, as the last island the log points to, it would be difficult to get to, therefore, and also it would be something else going on there, okay? So, not very important because, you know, I don't think there's anything brand spanking new the Straw Hats would learn there, but we might get more context on the road poneglyphs or more information about the road poneglyphs themselves or the poneglyphs in general, the Rio poneglyph. We might find out more stuff about that. We might find out more about Roger's adventure there. Who knows, right? There's some other islands that were mentioned, well, only one other island, and that's God Valley. I wrote that down because, like, okay, God Valley was apparently wiped off the map, you know, apparently by the world government, like, they don't want anybody asking questions about it. So there could always be, like, a twist. Like, I was thinking, like, what if God Valley turns out to be Laughtail? But that doesn't really make any sense, because God Valley was, like, the island was the place that, like, the government had complete control over, and that's where the dragons were, I guess, and the Tenryubito lived. It was, like, their homeland or something, and then everything, the event happened with rocks and it got wiped out, or the government covered it up or something, and they don't want anybody asking questions about it. So it wouldn't make any sense for that place to also be Laughtail. I feel it's been around since the Void Century, so that doesn't fit. But it is a mysterious island. It is a place that has a lot of like history involved with that, with the Tenryubito, with the world government. Like, if it did ever resurface, if the Straw Hats ever did find it or something, wouldn't it be weird if it was like by accident, if like the Straw Hats sail away from Wano, and then, like, they all fall asleep, and it's up to Zoro to guide the ship? I don't know why they would give Zoro that job, because they know full well. But, oh my god, I just thought of something funny. This would be great, okay? Just bear with me on this. This will probably not happen, but it's headcanon and it's funny, okay? So let's say Yamato joins the crew, okay? Yamato joins, and Jinbei is there too. So they're both like new members of the crew, okay? So they're all sailing away from Wano, right? Okay. And then it's like at nighttime a few days later, and all the Straw Hats are like going to bed or whatever. And let's say Nami gives Jinbei or Yamato the task with like guiding the ship, and Jinbei and Yamato are like, absolutely, sure. But they don't tell them, like, don't let Zoro guide the ship. He has no idea what he's doing. And Jinbei and Yamato would not really know about that yet. So what if it's like in the middle of the night, they're getting kind of tired, and then Zoro's like, hey, if you guys are sleepy, you know, you can go to bed. I'll watch the ship for you. I'll navigate. And Jinbei or Yamato will be like, oh, well, thanks, Zoro. Yeah, we're going to catch some winks. And they go to bed. And then it's Zoro like, oh, okay, I'll guide the ship. And then, oops, he accidentally ends up at God Valley somehow, you know? Like, that would be pretty funny. That would be pretty funny. Or, oh, we just happened to end up at Laughtail. Oh my god, that would be pretty damn funny. But yeah, so I just put God Valley on there because I think that'll be less about the Straw Hats actually going there, and it'll be more about, like, when we learn about Roger's backstory, when we get that flashback, when we get more stuff from the history of God Valley, that's when that's going to be focused on. We might actually even see in the flashback, like, what happened to the island. Like, the government, maybe Buster called it, completely knocked it into oblivion, sank it like Atlantis or some shit, you know, we just don't know. So, here's what I mean with all this, okay? Even if there's one story arc in One Piece that's left, and like one insular arc that's all connected, you could still really make all this work, right? You can have the Straw Hats like go to Loadstar, and then it's like that kicks off the final arc. Like, they don't spend that long on Loadstar, and then it's like maybe Elbaf and Laughtail are actually connected in some way, okay? I bring this up because Elbaf was Some giants work for the government, but I don't think Elbaf itself as a nation is allied with the world government in the same way that like Water 7 was, or the same way that like Alabasta was. You know what I mean? Like there are giants that they all kind of originate from Elbaf, but they've spread out and they have different, there's different settlements of giants all over the world. Like Saul did not come from Elbaf, okay? There's a giant squad in the Marines, but that does not mean that all giants bow to the orders of the world government. Seems a little bit contradictory from what we learn about the giants anyway, right? And the only reason Oimo and Kashi agreed to work for the government was because of, they lied to them and said that, oh, we have Dory and Bragi. If you work for us and guard the gate for like 100 years or something, then we'll let them go, okay? So, they had to, like, lie to them in order to get them to work for them. The other giants, like Saul and LaCroix and Ronsay and everybody, they probably just joined just because. John Giant joined because of Mother Caramel, but that doesn't mean all the giants are working for the world government, okay? So I like to think, therefore, Elbaf is outside the world government's purview, and there's this giant tree, and the whole point of Yggdrasil is there's, like, different tiers to the tree, different realms and stuff, okay? So, like, Vanaheim and, Asgard is the main one, and Midgard is the realm of humans and everything like that, right? And then Jotunheim is the land of the ice giants, all that crap, okay? And then Helheim, like the literal like burning hellscape or whatever, okay? So, what if it's a situation, and trees are very relevant in One Piece. You can't overlook trees in this story, okay? So, Straw Hats go to Elbaf, and maybe that's where the last road poneglyph is, or maybe like it's like a situation where it's like, yeah, we have the last road poneglyph, or we know where it is, but it's irrelevant because Laugh-Tail's actually here, but it's like up the tree or down the tree, and navigating that is very dangerous. You need a giant guide, or you need someone to tell you how to get there. It's not a place that's like easily accessible, okay? Also, keep in mind, when we do get to see, okay, when we had the Roger laugh moment, right? When, it's like Roger sees what the One Piece is and he learns about the true history, he laughed, and then all the other members of the Roger crew laughed. Now, in that scene, Oda specifically did not draw any backgrounds because he didn't want us to give like any hints on like what Laugh-Tail is or where it is or what it looks like or whatever. In the anime, they did this thing where it looked like they were standing in like the middle of like, I don't know, this pink fog or something like that. I don't know. It kind of reminded me of the moon. Now, I don't think it's the actual moon, although that would be neat. But if you're going to say Laugh-Tail is like way up on top of the Yggdrasil tree, which is a tree that is guarded by giants, probably their sacred site, their holy site for probably thousands of years. And at the very top of this tree, which is inaccessible in any other way other than climbing it, you finally get to the top there. And it could be a situation where the road poneglyphs, they could all point maybe to Elbaf, that would also, like, Big Mom did not have the possession of all of the road poneglyphs, but she did have this obsession with Elbaf and the giants joining her. Maybe she learned at some point, maybe the giants might have something to do with it. And then the whole thing with Wano is like the One Piece, there's a hint to it here, there's a clue to it here. Well, yeah, because the Kozukis are there, and they're the ones that made the poneglyphs, so yeah, there probably is some kind of clue to the One Piece there in Wano, or it could just mean the fact that, one of the road poneglyphs was in Wano. That could just be it as well. Although when Big Mom was falling into the hole, she kind of, the way it was like said, that when she was like thinking about it, it seemed to be a little bit more important than just, because she already knew the road poneglyph was there. She already knew that, Kaido had it. The way she phrased it was kind of like, there's something about it here, right? Like the key to finding it's here, right, Roger? Isn't it? Is something in Wano? So yeah, I think it might be something like that where the Kozukis might have some information on it, But yeah, I'm just trying to figure out a way to like, okay, can we, like, instead of just making Elbaf, Loadstar, and Laugh-Tail separate arcs that are like, like just insular from each other that might, like one arc leads to the other, is there any way that we could just throw all of these together in like one story arc? Typically the way we do it in One Piece is every island the Straw Hats visit equals a brand new story arc, even if the arc isn't that long. Like Amazon Lily didn't last very long. Whiskey Peak did not last very long, but it was like for every island, it's a different arc, okay? But it is the last part of the story. It is the last saga, so if Oda wants to change up the rules and just say, okay, this is the last arc, it's the Laugh-Tail arc, but they're going to go to multiple islands while they're in this arc. he's the boss, you know what I mean? Like, if he wants to change it up like that and, like, break the system, that's fine. I mean, it's, like, not really that big of a deal. Like, they go to Loadstar, and it's like, okay, go to Elbaf. And it's like, okay, we're on Elbaf. Hi, Giants, how are you doing? Hey, how you doing? Okay, so it turns out the Laugh-Tail's on top of the tree. Ah, damn, how do we get up there? He's like, well, you have to follow this path or whatever. It's really treacherous or whatever, but, you know, you seem like good people. You know, we trusted Roger. We'll trust you, so you can go up to the tree. I'm like, okay. They go up the tree. They find the One Piece. Oh, my God, it's the One Piece. Great, whatever it is. They come down the tree, and then, oh my God, everybody is there, and that leads into the Throne Wars, or the fight, the final war in One Piece, whatever you want to call it, okay? It's the final battle of ultimate destiny. We got the Blackbeard pirates there. We got Shanks's crew there. We got all the admirals there. All of the warlords, or the ex-warlords, show up. The SSG shows up. Wang Ji makes a cameo. Why not? We have all these powerful heavy hitters coming out of the woodwork. All of the supernovas are there. The revolutionaries are there, and they're just all condensing on Elbaf, all right? And then the Giants are like, Straw Hats, we'll fight alongside you. And then all the Giants get, you know, armored out. They get the giant axe and the giant swords and the giant armor and the giant horses. Do they have giant horses? Whatever, I'm sure they do. That's Elbaf. Everything's giant, okay? And then you have the Straw Hat Pirates and the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. There's Hyrule there, and he's like, I'm happy to fight with you, brothers. You know, and it's like, okay. And then the Straw Hats and the Giants all attack together and just, ah! And it's this ultimate battle of, like, Helm's Deep times a billion or some shit. You know, Doflamingo breaks out of prison. He shows up. It's like, whatever, right? Oars Jr.'s back, and he punches Doflamingo into the ground for cutting off his leg during Marineford or whatever. Oh my God, that would be epic, okay? I'm just trying to also figure out a way to make the final war as epic as possible. And how more epic can you get than the Straw Hat Pirates fighting alongside an entire army of giants armored out the ass? Dory and Broggy show back up too, and it's like, we finally concluded our duel, or we put our duel on hold in order to fight for our friends, you know, and it's like, oh my God, that would be cool. That would be awesome. So yeah, there's a way Oda could do this. Absolutely, we could fit Elbaf into this, we could fit Laugh-Tail into this. Yeah, sure, why not? It's possible. I also think there would have to be a post arc, or like a supplemental arc, as like to actually end out the story, because One Piece has lasted so damn long. I don't think it'll work if you just like end, like, the battle is over. Like, okay, the battle's over. The Straw Hats have the One Piece. Luffy holds up the crown or whatever, and, like, end of story. There has to be an epilogue here. Like, there has to be, okay? And it's got to be more than just, like, 1 or 2 chapters, unless the chapter is, like, you know, 100 or 200 pages long or something like that, right? There's got to be, like, a last part of the story where the Straw Hats all go back home and they realize their dreams. You know, Usopp reunites with Kaya, and Brook reunites with Crocus and Laboon. Like, there's got to be a moment like that, okay? But after all that's said and done, end of story. It'll be over, right? Okay. I also think that, for the most part, actually speed along rather quickly, where let's say they go with this plan. Let's say it actually does go like Loadstar very briefly, and then they go to Elbaf, and then they find the One Piece. That might actually be only maybe a few dozen chapters, not as long as you might think. And then it's the war, which is the big part of the arc. Like, that's the bulk of it, okay? Wano was 4 years long, and that was about 150 chapters. Not quite 150, but pretty close, okay? So I'm just rounding up here. We could do a thing where it's like, okay, let's just say we do this again with, like, maybe a little bit more than 150. We want to make it 5 years or whatever, right around there. We could do a thing where it's like they might find the One Piece in a year from now, a year and a half from now, and then everything else is just this massive war, you know? It could be a situation like that. But I don't know how Oda's going to structure it. I just wanted to go in and talk about this a little bit to say that, like, you know, One Piece is not going to be ending in, like, 6 months. It's not going to be like, last arc, 6 months long, not a very long arc. They find the One Piece, they beat everybody, end of story. Going to be a little longer than that, so don't worry about it. Cool your jets. And we have a whole month to plan here and, you know, theorize about what's going to come next. I think also there's a new thing called the Road to Laugh-Tail, which was announced, and I'm not 100% clear on what it's going to be, but from what I read, it's going to be like Oda reveals like scrapped ideas over the years. Now, I don't know if that means like scrapped ideas for what Laugh Tale would be. That would actually be really interesting, although I would probably prefer something like that after the One Piece is revealed. Like, the One Piece is revealed in the story, oh my god, and then like Oda reveals like, here's a bunch of scrapped ideas on what I also thought it could be, and I've changed it over the years, right? Would you rather prefer that before or after the Straw Hats literally find it? Because I could see both ways. I could see it like Oda reveals all these different like scrapped ideas for what the One Piece was, and we could look at those scrapped ideas and we could be like, holy crap, there's some good ideas on here. So if Oda scrapped them, that means the real One Piece is even more cool than all this stuff, right? But then if we find out what the One Piece is and it's like, oh, there's one of these ideas on the list that actually sound cooler than what we actually got, you know, you run in the danger of that happening. I mean, that'll happen no matter what, right? There's, you know, no one's going to be 100% happy of what the One Piece is. That's the thing when you tether your story, your 100 plus volumes of a story to like, the Straw Hats are going to find this treasure. No matter what the treasure is, there's going to be people that are going to be upset about it, okay? They're just going to be like, that's what we were waiting for! Oda revealed that it's not going to be a thing like, you know, the journey was the treasure or friendship was the true treasure. But I was thinking about this the other day. You know what? That might not be what the Straw Hats receive. They will receive a physical reward. You know, Oda already confirmed that. But you want to know what the real One Piece is? The real One Piece is the story that we all enjoyed for over 25 years. That's what the real One Piece is. Okay, so it might not be like for Luffy, it might not be like the journey was the real treasure and the One Piece turns out to be nothing. No, it will be something, but when it comes to the fans, no matter what the One Piece turns out to be, it's like our reward is we get this amazing story and the memories that we made along the way. There you go. See how I spun it? Okay. But yeah. So we'll see how it goes, and I guess the other way to do it is like reveal what the One Piece is and then do the ideas after, but then you run into the same problem. Like, oh, that's what the One Piece was. Okay, that's pretty cool. And then the scrapped ideas are just like, oh, I like that idea more. But it's like, you know, once again, that'll happen no matter what. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see, and I'll make some videos about that, you know, when that's revealed and stuff. You know, probably not, well, maybe during vacation. We'll see how it goes. But anyway, thanks for watching the video, everyone. And now we have a new installment of Iguana Facts for all y'all.
Welcome to Iguana Facts with Tekking.
All right, so let's kick this off with a very popular type of iguana, and that is the green iguana. Probably the most popular in the entire world because it is the kind that's usually used for pets, okay? So the green iguana, you know, like most lizards, it has the ability of autonomy. I think that's how you say it, and it's the ability basically to remove their tails and they can regrow. So, for example, if, you know, they're out there walking around, you know, in the forest or whatever, and a hawk swoops down or a snake pops out of the brush to try to, like, attack it and kill it, which hawks and snakes and, like, you know, cats are like the main predators of iguanas. The iguana can always, it's usually, I don't even think it's like a willing reaction. I think it's more of like a reflexive thing where, like, you know, the iguana's walking around, a snake comes out, bites its tail, and it's just like from the stress of that and just like, ah, and then like the tail just pops off and then the iguana just scampers away and just runs the hell away, right? And so the snake is there like munching on the tail, and then eventually the tail will regrow, okay? So it's a pretty handy defensive, you know, characteristic. Can you imagine if humans had that? That'd be neat. If you're like, you know, walking down the street one night and maybe someone like attacks you or something and like grabs your leg or grabs your arm, you could just, and just pop off your arm and you just run away down the road. And then like a couple days later, it's, you just regrow an arm like Piccolo or some shit. That would be interesting. That would be an interesting little evolutionary trait that humans could pick up. But anyway, yeah, a lot of lizards, a lot of like reptiles can do that. Their eyesight is very impeccable. In fact, they kind of have a third eye. Not really, but it's like a point on their forehead, I think, that's linked to their pineal gland that basically is very receptive to light. So, like, when the sun goes down and stuff, that's like when their bodies go into their, like, state of, like, low energy consumption because they are cold-blooded. So it's like, okay, sun's going down. We got to go into, like, hibernation mode. And then the sun's coming back up. Light reaches the eye. And it's like, okay, waking back up again. So that's pretty cool. They're usually herbivores. I guess they do eat insects every now and then. So I think they're officially classed as omnivores, but for the most part, as long as like plants and stuff are available, they'll just strictly stick to a plant-based diet. But I guess if food gets scarce or if they're hungry enough or whatever, they will eat like bugs and stuff. They have very sharp teeth. So, you know, you don't think of an iguana as very dangerous, but they do have sharp teeth, and that they bite you, it will probably hurt. It will probably shred your skin. As I said, hawks, snakes, and cats are their main predators. Humans as well. They eat them for their meat. They also communicate through their eyes, like so blinking. So if you see an iguana going like this, it's like a special kind of like iguana Morse code or some shit. I don't know, but I guess they can communicate each other to be like, hey, fellow iguana, check it out. Oh, man. Yeah, I saw that meme last week. Yeah. It's pretty funny. They can grow pretty big. I think the largest ones are up to 8 kilograms or 17 pounds. And this is impressive, as long as 2 meters or over 6 feet in length, okay, as an iguana, like the biggest in the world. So that's pretty damn impressive there. And they can run up to, I think, 21 miles per hour is the fastest that an iguana has been clocked. Now, probably won't be able to maintain that speed for a long period of time, but still, you see an iguana booking at 20 miles down the road, you'd be like, wow, okay, shit. You don't expect that from an iguana, but they have been clocked at running that fast. Okay, so that was Iguana Facts. Hope you enjoy. This will be Tekking, signing out. Later.